Welcome, jesters. Apparently, Gen Alpha can't spell, and they don't know their name or things like that. I've seen a couple of videos recently on YouTube talking about this, and I do recall, like, TikToks from, well, I don't have TikTok, but, other commentators have shown TikToks from teachers basically saying the same thing, that Generation Alpha, they are basically illiterate, in terms of, the basic English language. Now, I think this is an opportunity, to be honest. Now, we have to correct it. And then the first step is, of course, getting all the leftists out of education, but that's a separate topic. But this does present us an opportunity that we will probably hopefully never have again, and have never had anything like this in the past, and that's to finally update English spelling. I think y'all know what I mean. The certain letter combinations in English, like O-U-G-H, E-A, C-H, whatever, have like 30 or more different pronunciations, and there often is no rhyme or reason to this. It just is the way it is. Now, historically, right, if you follow these things, and who doesn't follow basic history, we know, a lot of this is simply because of the printing press, right? When things started to be printed, that kind of froze spelling in time, which is why knife is still spelled with a K, even though the K is now silent, because way back when, in 1440, when the printing press was invented or became popular, it was actually Knife or something like that, or Knife, or whatever, right? So the K wasn't silent, but it is now, but we've never bothered to update spelling because that's what we see on the page all the time. And the reason it is so hard is because, actually, oddly enough, because there is no government involved. English is entirely based on inertia. Social pressure and inertia. There's no standards body. There's no government agency like, the French Language Institute or whatever, dictating, the actual language, right? It's all just based on how people talk and spell, right? There's no governing body that says, this is how something is spelled. It's spelled K-N-I-F-E because that's the way it's spelled. Really, that's it. There have been some attempts in history to change this, but the last probably successful attempt was when was Henry Webster, or his name actually Merriam-Webster? Webster, whatever. In 1806, he published a dictionary with American spellings of words, which is why today, we spell color differently from the British. Unfortunately, it didn't go far enough, and that's why it's just a fun anomaly now, but not real reform. And all the other attempts, they've all been very academic because of the inertia. Also, I think they tried to fix everything. They tried to go through and they tried to create the perfect spelling construct for English. Well, you don't really have to do that. It's okay to have minor differences. And, if you can tell, if somebody comes from California or New York because of how they, spell things, yeah, I'm absolutely 100% fine with that. Now, of course, our friends on the left will somehow identify this as the new rationale for, discrimination against people, and we're going to have spellism, if you use, how you spell certain words to determine where you're from and discriminate against them, it's terrible. And, well, they always find something to whine about, but that's just going to be the case no matter what. So, yeah, I think, really, we should turn this huge failure of the left, because they control education and they are the primary reason why these kids can't write or spell, into an opportunity that we use the opportunity that we're never going to have again. We've never had and probably will never have again, and that's to finally update English spelling. I'm serious about this. Another reason that it's so hard is because, the tech that we use, the tech that Gen Alpha uses too much, actually, there's no pressure anymore, right? With transcription and spell check and everything like that, we just say the words, and it's gotten too good at spelling them correctly. Unfortunately, we don't have to actually spell anymore, which I find kind of annoying. So this is where tech can really help us out, right? All you companies, Microsoft, Google, anybody involved in this, just get together and pick one of the new spell. What are they called? Not Didex. Not lexicon. Whatever the spelling rules. Whatever these people have come up with, and just pick one and go with it. That's it. Because knife should not be spelled K-N-I-F-E. Knife should be N-I-I-F. Yes, I am in favor of, the long vowel being doubled. That's fine. So knife is N-I-I-F. Just pick one, make it an option, and let's just go with it and see what happens. Because, let's be honest, the people like us who who, well, know how to read and know how to spell, mostly, will be able to pick this up very, very quickly. Which is why I say we're going to be able to determine who was educated in a leftist environment, because they're really going to have a lot of trouble with this. But, if spell check continually presents them with the newer, updated spelling, they'll eventually learn. And they will learn how to read it and how to write it, and that is going to be good for everybody. So, yes, the technology that actually made Gen Alpha illiterate is the one that can save us all from the current state of English spelling. So let's do it, because I'm right.